Miami Heat played a pretty wild one against the Toronto Raptors last night. Uh, Went to triple overtime. We could talk about the late game offense here, but it's kind of hard to dictate what is late game offense as I start out this fourth quarter because there was three quarters that basically followed. But the story of this one is Miami kind of not getting going offensively in crunch time. They just could not really get into the spots that they wanted to. A lot of that was Tyler Herro being 5 for 22 from the field. He kind of struggled. Jimmy had a good night overall, but kind of had some other things go differently in these type of situations, in these clutch time situations. Gave Vincent bailed them out a ton. And then Bam Adebayo wasn't really active in a lot of these on-ball sets in this part of the game. So I just want to go through some of the things we saw offensively. The first one, this is when Miami was up 298, 16 seconds left. They can kind of close it out here with a bucket. You're going to see them go Tyler Herro, Jimmy Butler, pick and roll, inverted pick and roll with an empty corner. That's a good way to go about offense at this point in the game. But as you're going to see right here, he refuses the screen, gets to the rim. Something they did a ton in this game, and something I asked Jimmy about after the game is things looked best when this was happening right here, and he was making the kick out. Driving kicks in this game were some of their most effective offense. The reasoning, it got away from ISOs. It got away from tough finishes. It got away from letting the ref dictate a last-second shot in this scenario. So right here, Jimmy kind of forces up a shot. It doesn't go. Toronto ends up going down and getting fouled. They hit two free throws to send it to overtime. But as you see right here, one more time, the hammer screen was being set right there for PJ. And if that wasn't there, because Gary Trent started to slide over, it's a kick out to Gabe, but obviously he goes up and you kind of move on from there. The next one, this a little bit later in overtime, is the one play I'm going to show of a positive light of their late game offense, because as I talked about the driving kicks working, this is what I mean. Now, this time it's just kind of an isolation. Jimmy drives. Scotty Barnes has to step over, kicks it out to Gabe. It's an easy three. Gabe was, bailing them out of a lot of these situations in this game, but that is kind of when their offense was at its best. These other just spamming high pick and rolls, isolations just wasn't working. And it's why 2 of their 3 overtimes, they shot 2 for 8 from the field. It's just not a good formula for success offensively at this point in the game. Another one, this is the last second shot in overtime. As I go back a little bit one more time, Jimmy's kind of just dribbling up. And you're going to see Fred VanVleet oddly come up for just a cross-court double, triple, whatever you want to call it. As I go back one more time, right here, Jimmy's going to go. Fred VanVleet's going to come up. PJ's going to basically get run over. Now there's 3 guys on Jimmy, but immediately when Fred VanVleet steps up like that, he should probably make the immediate pass because there's so much time on the clock. It would make sense if there was a little bit less, but there's 8 seconds right here, 7 seconds. Now you can make that cut. If you make that pass over to Tyler, he can either take it or cut it over to Gabe. Right here, it ends up going off his leg out of bounds. And Scotty ends up picking it up, and it's Toronto ball. It's just another one of those plays that kind of goes sideways because you kind of wait too long and don't make the immediate read. It just kind of hurt them. The next one, we could talk a lot about these ton of last-second shots. Every time it went down, there was a shot toward the end. This was one of their better looks. So we talk about their last-second shots. They got 1 second left, 1.7 left. You get the ball to Tyler Herro here. That's what they did. And you can see them come around. Tyler was open. Of course, you can point out right here that Bam is open, but there's 1 second on the clock. It's low probability of him getting it there and in. But Tyler gets around the corner, and he gets a nice-looking floater. Even Spo said after the game, it looked like it was going in from the arena. It looked like it was going in that shot, but it was short. That's just just a missed shot. It's just a tough night for Tyler. But that was one of the plays that I feel like that was pretty greatly drawn up. That was the kind of shot you'd want to get in that scenario. The last one, just stepping away from the offense for a second. The reason why I think it was the right move, probably to keep Tyler in there for a lot of the plays because they needed that creation offensively. You see 4 defensive guys. Tyler's the weak link defensively. But they needed that creation. Maybe they could have went Max Strus if they wanted to continue to put the ball in Jimmy's hands and have an off-ball movement, but he would have got picked on defensively as well. Caleb, you could have put in there for defensive reasons, but what would the offense have looked like? It's just kind of all hindsight. But just looking at this, they were attacking Tyler Herro, and it was clear that was their game plan. It was clear that Miami knew that was their game plan. They were just getting the matchups that they wanted. They were doing it from the first quarter. Miami was soft switching a ton. They were getting Tyler onto Siakam. They were getting Duncan early in the game onto Siakam, and Siakam was kind of getting into his spots, or Gabe was on his back and he was getting into his spots. This point in the game, this was every time down they were hunting Tyler Herro, and everybody knew it. What comes right here is once that starts happening, you have to start doubling. You have to start trying to get them to move the ball. That was the issue, and that's how Toronto kind of got their offense going, because it wasn't the greatest offensive night for Toronto as well, but this is how they got their shots. Bam obviously sees that it's a mismatch once again. He blitzes. Siakam just makes the pass, and Fred VanVleet just hits a tough shot, deep three, and nails it. But the reasoning, even if he didn't take that, it's a swing for another open three because they had to double with Tyler. I think, like I said, they kind of had to go that way. They needed an offensive punch, even though it wasn't his best night for sure. But obviously, I do think that's the Victor Oladipo element. If in a game like that, if Tyler's struggling, if they're hunting him defensively, Victor Oladipo, if he's still that two-way guy, he's the guy to go to. But obviously, 4 games and 5 nights ahead, one Monday, one Tuesday. Just a weird night of just minutes being distributed on both sides, that it's time to rest up Sunday, move on to the next one, and kind of just clean up these late game situations as they move forward.